Right now, in this exact moment, your future is being decided not by your talent, not by your circumstances, not by luck, timing, or the opportunities available to you. It is being decided by one simple choice you keep making, over and over every single day, dozens of times before noon, choosing what feels good now over what makes you better later. That's it. That is the entire equation. That is the invisible line that separates the people who rise from the people who stay exactly where they are year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. Every time you reach for your phone instead of your goals, you are making that choice. Every time you choose the comfortable meal over the disciplined one, you are making that choice. Every time you delay the hard work, skip the difficult conversation, or choose entertainment over growth, you are casting a vote, not for the person you want to become, for the person you are staying. And the worst part, it never feels like a big decision. It feels small. It feels harmless. It feels like it doesn't matter, but it does. It always does. Because those small moments are not isolated events. They are training sessions. And what they are training you to become should terrify you. Here is what is actually happening inside your brain every time you give in. Your brain has two competing systems. One is ancient, the limbic system, wired for survival, wired for immediate reward, wired to pursue pleasure and avoid pain at all costs. The other is evolved, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of self-control, long-term thinking, and disciplined decision-making. Every choice you make is a battle between these two systems. And here is the critical part. Whichever side wins, more often becomes dominant. Your brain is not fixed. It is not static. It is constantly rewiring itself based on the patterns you repeat. Every time you choose instant gratification, you are strengthening the impulsive, reactive, comfort-seeking pathways. Every time you delay, resist, and endure, you are strengthening the disciplined, focused, future-oriented ones. This is not motivation. This is biology. And one of the most powerful demonstrations of this principle is the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment. Children were placed in a room with one marshmallow and given a simple choice: eat it now or wait 15 minutes and receive two. Some grabbed it immediately. Others sat in the discomfort of waiting and held out for the greater reward. Years later, researchers followed up with those same children as adults. The ones who waited had better academic performance, better health outcomes, stronger relationships, greater financial stability, higher measures of self-control across virtually every area of their lives. That is not coincidence. That is cause and effect. The marshmallow was never about the marshmallow. It was about the capacity to sit in discomfort, resist the immediate pull, and trust that the sacrifice now would produce something greater later. That capacity, practiced early and consistently, compounds into an entirely different life. The question is not whether this principle is real. It is. The question is whether you are applying it or whether you are still grabbing the marshmallow every single time. Most people think they have a motivation problem, or a discipline problem, or a focus problem. They do not. They have a gratification problem. They have spent so long choosing the path of least resistance, the quick scroll, the easy meal, the delayed start, the avoided discomfort, that their brain has been thoroughly conditioned to reject anything that doesn't deliver an immediate reward. And so when something truly important arrives, a goal that requires weeks of unsexy work, a habit that takes months to build, a skill that demands years of patient practice, they cannot sustain it. Not because they lack talent, not because the goal was wrong, but because they have trained themselves through thousands of tiny choices to quit the moment effort exceeds comfort. David Goggins understood this more clearly than almost anyone alive. He did not become who he is by waiting to feel ready. He did not wait for motivation to show up. He looked directly at the pattern of comfort in his own life and decided to go to war with it. He chose pain over pleasure. He chose the hard path when every version of easy was available. He built his entire identity around the principle of doing what he did not want to do because he knew that was exactly where growth lived. That is not a personality type. That is a decision, a repeated, daily, relentless decision. And it is available to you. But let's be honest about what this actually feels like in practice. Because delaying gratification is not just about saying no to a snack or putting your phone down for an hour. It is about enduring a war that happens entirely inside your own mind and winning it over and over when no one is watching and nothing is forcing you. Every time you try to resist immediate reward, your brain fights back. Hard. It will whisper, it will reason, it will construct the most convincing, compassionate, perfectly logical case for why giving in right now is actually the smart choice. You deserve a break. You've been working hard. Just this once won't hurt. You'll start fresh tomorrow. This moment is an exception. That voice sounds reasonable. It sounds like self-compassion. It sounds like wisdom. It is none of those things. It is the sound O. F, weakness. We're in a disguise. And every time you listen to it, even once, you make it louder. You reinforce the pathway. You teach your brain that discomfort is a signal to retreat rather than a signal to advance. This is how ordinary stays ordinary, not through dramatic failure, through 1,000 small surrenders that each felt completely justified in the moment. Here is something most people get wrong. They believe self-control is about willpower. It is not. Willpower is finite. It depletes. It is a resource that runs out, especially by the end of the day, especially under stress, especially when you are tired or emotionally drained. Relying on willpower alone to delay gratification is like building a dam out of tissue paper and hoping it holds. It will not hold, not consistently, not under pressure. What you need instead is a system, a structure that removes the moment of choice entirely, or makes the right choice automatic and the wrong choice inconvenient. If your phone is in your hand, you will scroll. So put it in another room. If social media apps are one tap away, you will open them. So remove them from your home screen or delete them entirely. If junk food is in your kitchen, you will eat it. So stop buying it. If your environment gives your impulses easy wins, your impulses will win every single time. So redesign the environment. This is not about being rigid or extreme. This is about being strategic, understanding that the battle is often decided before the moment of temptation even arrives, by the choices you made about your environment long before the impulse hit. Build systems that make discipline your default. Remove the friction from good choices and add friction to destructive ones. And then, when the discomfort arrives anyway, because it always does, you will be in a position of strength rather than fighting from the floor. Now here is where everything accelerates, because the most powerful thing about delayed gratification is not any single act of resistance. It is the compounding effect of doing it repeatedly, consistently, over time. One delayed impulse is a small victory. One productive session over one wasted hour is a marginal improvement. But 30 days of that, 90 days, a year, the accumulation is staggering. Every day you choose the difficult thing over the easy thing, you are not just making progress on the goal, you are becoming a different person. You are building a version of yourself whose default setting is discipline, not drift, whose first instinct is endurance, not escape, who looks at a hard task and feels something other people rarely feel, readiness. Small sacrifices compound into mental toughness. Repeated resistance builds genuine self-belief, not the kind that comes from affirmations, but the kind that comes from evidence, from watching yourself show up day after day and choosing growth over comfort when it mattered. That is the foundation. And once it is built, nothing feels impossible in the same way again. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You persist through timelines that make other people quit. You stay the course when everyone around you is abandoning theirs, not because you are more talented, not because the path is easier for you, because you have trained for this. While everyone else was feeding their impulses, you were disciplining them. And now, in the moments that matter, the difference shows. It all comes down to consistency, not knowledge. You already know what you need to do, not awareness. You already see the pattern, not inspiration. You have had plenty of that and it fades. What transforms a life is the repeated act of choosing delayed gratification, one decision at a time, day after day, long after the initial motivation is gone. Most people quit too early. They resist for a week. They make progress. Then the discomfort returns, sharper this time, more persistent, wearing new disguises, and they fold. They tell themselves they'll reset next Monday and go back to the same patterns that have never, ever delivered what they actually want. That cannot be you anymore. Not because someone is watching, not because failure is shameful, but because you understand finally and completely what is actually at stake in these small moments. Every impulse you overcome is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every discomfort you sit with is a deposit into the account of your future self. Every time you choose the long road over the easy shortcut, you are not just making progress, you are proving to yourself that you can. And that proof, built through action, not words, is what turns doubt into certainty and potential into reality. Set your rules, remove your temptations, structure your environment so discipline is the default, not the exception. And when the internal war starts, and it will start every single day, you do not negotiate, you do not reason with it, you do not give it an inch. You endure, you push through, you hold the line. Because on the other side of that resistance is something most people never reach. A version of yourself you actually respect. A life built on choices you are proud of. A mind that cannot be bought, cannot be distracted, cannot be derailed by the endless flood of things designed to keep you small and comfortable. That version is not fiction. It is not reserved for the talented few. It is available to anyone willing to delay the marshmallow. Start today. Delay one thing. Resist one urge. Endure one uncomfortable moment. Then do it again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, until it is no longer something you have to force, but simply who you are. If this hit different, subscribe and turn on notifications. New content every week, built to challenge you, sharpen you, and push you toward who you are actually capable of becoming. See you in the next one.